Hello everyone. Before we start, click like and subscribe to our channel. Also, tell me in the comments section where you are watching the video from and your current time. That way, YouTube will continue to show you similar and related videos that you enjoy. Now, let's get started. I always thought hotels were safer than home. You've got cameras, locked doors, staff just down the hall. You're surrounded by people. Right? But when I checked into that hotel in Phoenix, Arizona, it felt like I was the only person there. And I swear to God, someone was already inside my room before I even opened the door. I had just landed in Phoenix, Arizona for a work conference just 2 nights. This short trip was exciting because of the change in environment, meeting new people, and the thrill of working and having fun at the same time. Everything just seemed fine. Upon arrival, I booked the cheapest decent hotel I could find. Not one of those chains, more like a local spot off the main road. Desert palms out front, stucco walls, red-tiled roof. It looked and felt safe enough for me at that first moment. Mid-range reviews. The kind of place no one remembers. It was late when I got there. The front desk guy barely looked up. He handed me the key to room 409 and said, "End of the hall. Elevators slow. No smile. No ID check. Just tired eyes and silence." When I got to the room, the door was already cracked open. I stood there for a second like, no way. I even checked the number twice. But yeah, 409, my room. The door wasn't wide open or anything, just off the latch. Like someone had walked in, then thought better of it. I pushed it open slowly. Hello? Nothing. The lights were off, but the AC was running. The room was cold, and there was this weird, smell-like faded perfume and bleach. Not strong. Just present. I searched everything. Closet, under the bed, behind the shower curtain, nobody. So I convinced myself housekeeping forgot to close the door. Threw my stuff down, bolted the door, and went to sleep. But in the middle of the night, I heard the closet door click shut. I sat straight up, heart pounding. I stared at that closet for almost an hour. When I finally opened it again, there was nothing inside. Nothing but the smell. Stronger now. And this time, something else too. A single hotel hanger, swinging slowly back and forth. The next morning, I went straight to the front desk and asked if housekeeping had cleaned the room before I checked in. The guy didn't even look up. Just said, "All rooms were cleaned yesterday." I pushed a little harder. Told him the door was open when I arrived, that I heard something in the night. He shrugged and mumbled, "Maybe the latch didn't catch." That's it. No one came to check. No offer to switch rooms. Just brushed off. So I left for the conference. Tried to shake it off, but I couldn't focus. I kept checking my phone, rewatching that closet door shut in my mind. I didn't even remember falling asleep. And now I was wondering, had I imagined it? I got back that evening, and the first thing I noticed was the desk drawer. It was open, just slightly. I hadn't opened it. Inside was the room's safe, still locked, but I checked anyway. It was empty. No big deal, right? Except the keypad showed 3 failed attempts. I never touched the safe. Then I found something else tucked beneath my folded hoodie in the suitcase. A hotel pen. One of those generic black plastic ones with the logo printed on the side. Same kind they leave at the front desk. But I didn't take one. I hadn't even gone near the desk. I checked the closet again. Same empty rail. No movement, no smell. But when I looked closer, there were scratches on the inside of the door frame. Thin, almost like someone had pressed metal against the wood. Like maybe a wire hanger. That's when I realized something I hadn't noticed before. The peephole from the inside was facing the wrong way. I didn't go out that night. I locked the door. Deadbolt. Security latch. Dragged the chair in front of it again, just like last time. I even stacked a cup on top, so I'd hear if someone tried anything. And then I turned off the lights and sat there. Just sat. Phone on silent. No television. No sound. That's when I heard it, barely a whisper of movement. Inside the room, not outside, not from the hallway. from inside. It was coming from behind the wall, a soft scuff, like fabric brushing drywall, like someone shifting their weight. Then nothing. Then, a faint tap tap tap, behind the headboard. I got up slowly, heart pounding, and put my ear to the wall. Nothing, just silence now, but I know what I heard. I called the front desk again. This time, a different guy answered. Young voice. I told him something weird was going on in 409. I said, I think someone's been in my room. I think they might be inside the walls. There was a pause. Then he said, that room's not supposed to be occupied. I blinked. What are you talking about? I've been here 2 nights. Another pause. Then he asked very carefully, did you check in with Devon? I don't know. Some guy. He didn't even ask for ID. Another silence. Then he said, quietly, Devon hasn't worked here in over a year. He died in room 409. Suicide. We closed that room. We don't check people into it. I turned slowly. The chair was still against the door. The deadbolt was still locked. And the cup? Still sitting on top of the handle. No one came in. Because they never left. I used to think you could always tell when someone was watching you. That you'd feel it goosebumps, a chill, something. But I stayed in this hotel outside Nashville for 3 nights. And I never once saw the man watching me. Not in the hallway, not through the peephole, not even in the mirror. But he left proof. Every single night. I was in Tennessee for a music shoot indie doc project, low budget. We were supposed to stay in Nashville proper, but everything decent was booked solid. I ended up in a hotel about 20 minutes out, off a back road just past a truck stop. The place looked better online. In person it had that heavy, musty kind of silence. You know the kind that hums through the carpet and buzzes in the lights? The kind that makes you feel like you're the only person there, even when you're not. The lady at the front desk asked if I wanted the quiet side of the building. I said sure. She gave me room 112. Bottom floor, way in the back. No rooms on either side. She even said, we don't put families there, just folks who like their privacy. That sounded perfect. Until I woke up the next morning and found the washcloth hanging on the shower bar had been moved, folded differently, damp. I hadn't touched it yet. I thought maybe housekeeping came in early, but when I asked at the desk, they told me no one had been on that side of the building since check-in, that they wait until guests check out to clean. I brushed it off. Maybe I was misremembering. But then that night, I found a cigarette butt on the floor under the desk. I don't smoke. And the windows were sealed shut. I tried to laugh it off. Told myself I probably tracked the cigarette in on my boot, or it got stuck in my gear bag somehow. But deep down, I knew better. The ash looked fresh. Like it had been dropped, not dragged or carried. And the weirdest part? The smoke alarm in the room was disabled. Battery yanked out. I only noticed because I was checking the ceiling obsessively, trying to convince myself the smell was in my head. That night, I didn't sleep much. I left a glass on the bathroom sink cone of those thin plastic ones, still wrapped in the paper sleeve. Unopened. When I woke up, the cup was gone. Not on the counter, not in the trash. Just gone. I even pulled the trash liner out and dumped it onto the bathroom floor to check. Nothing. And taped to the mirror, where the cup had been, a note, torn from the hotel's notepad. One line written in pencil. Why do you always sleep with your mouth open? I felt this wave of nausea, like my brain couldn't process it fast enough. I was alone. No one knew I was here. I hadn't posted anything. Hadn't told anyone the name of the hotel. That's when I checked the mirror again. You know how some hotel mirrors are mounted on panels? This one had a hairline gap running around the frame. Just wide enough for something to slide behind. Or someone to look through. I pulled it. Behind it? Cinder block wall. But scratched into the concrete, hidden behind where the mirror had been mounted was a name. Kevin, room 114. I didn't pack. I didn't shower. I just grabbed my keys and went straight to the front desk. The woman from check-in was gone, a new guy, younger, distracted. I asked him if someone was staying in room 114. He looked it up, squinted at the screen, then said, "Nope. Been vacant for months. AC unit broke and flooded the carpet. We don't rent that one out anymore." I didn't even think. I just walked out of the lobby and down the hallway. I needed to see the room, needed proof this wasn't in my head, that maybe there was some explanation. The door to 114 was locked. No light inside. No sound. I bent down and looked through the keyhole, half expecting, I don't know, something, anything. But there was nothing. Darkness. Until movement. A faint shift, like someone stepping back. I jolted up so fast I nearly lost balance, heart hammering. I ran back to my room, grabbed my stuff, left without checking out. On my way out of the parking lot, I saw a ton of those little plastic signs stuck in the grass near the maintenance door. Room 114, renovation work in progress. But as I drove past, I saw the blinds behind that door tilt slightly. Just enough for someone inside to peek through. Just enough for me to catch a glimpse of something I'd never seen until then. A man, standing in the dark, wearing my hotel robe. I drove for hours. No music, no stops, just the hum of the tires and the pounding in my chest. I didn't look back until I hit the highway. But I had many unanswered questions regarding the man I saw wearing my hotel robe. I had even more disturbing questions regarding the entire trip. To this day, I have never understood how or why things turned out so weird, mysterious, and haunting. On the very first night after getting back home, I just couldn't shake the feeling that someone was still watching. I acknowledge that it could have been paranoia, but I think whoever followed me to that hotel room knew me really well. I think the weird experience administered this unusual fear in me. I started double-checking the windows and the doors, something that I never did before. Every time I turn out the lights, I feel like someone is watching me, and I don't know if my life will ever be the same again. Last year, I checked into this isolated hotel in New Mexico. I thought it was fancy, until it gave me one of the most horrifying nights of my life. The whole idea of visiting New Mexico came from my increased fantasy of living my life. I just needed quiet time alone and distance. From my job, from my sister, from everything. The hotel was quiet-old but clean, perched on the edge of the city where the skyline gives way to overpasses and warehouses. I told the man at the front desk I didn't care which floor. He gave me room 308. The first thing I noticed was the door. It stuck when I closed it, like the frame had shifted over time. The lock worked, but the bolt needed an extra shove. I told myself it was fine. Temporary. The next morning, I realized that someone had slipped a folded paper under the door. No logo, no message, just my name written in tight, slanted letters. "You looked tired last night." I froze. I hadn't spoken to anyone. I hadn't posted I was here. I didn't even turn on the television. I took the note to the front desk. The clerk looked confused, then smiled too long. "Must be a mistake. We don't offer messages like that." It wasn't from the hotel. The following night, I returned from getting coffee, when I quickly realized that my door was slightly ajar. The bolt wasn't latched. I stood there for a long time, heart thudding, pretending I'd simply forgotten. But I hadn't. Inside, everything looked untouched except the mirror. There was a small smudge in the center. A fingerprint. I held up my hand to compare. It wasn't mine. I didn't sleep that night. Every creak became footsteps. Every gust from the hallway vent sounded like breathing. I pushed the armchair against the door and left the bathroom light on. I kept thinking about that fingerprint on the mirror. It wasn't smudged like someone cleaning it was placed, right in the center. Like someone was watching themselves. I asked to change rooms in the morning. The woman at the desk hesitated, then said they were fully booked. I watched her eyes move too quickly, like she already knew which room I was in, like she expected me. I stayed out all day, walked through stores I didn't need, ate food I couldn't taste. I kept checking my phone, but I hadn't told anyone where I was. I hadn't wanted to be found. When I returned at dusk, the door was shut, but the bolt wasn't latched. Again. At that very moment, I remembered that I hadn't left it that way. I stepped in slowly. The air felt warm, like someone had just been there. The lights were dimmer than I remembered. I checked everything: the closet, under the bed, behind the curtain. Nothing. But on the desk was a new note, written on hotel stationery. "You have a soft walk. I didn't hear you come back." I tore it in half. Then I noticed my toothbrush was wet. And the bed, the side I hadn't slept on, was warm. I waited until midnight, fully dressed, phone in hand, sitting in the corner where both the door and the bathroom were in view. The lights stayed off. I wanted whoever it was to think I'd gone out again. I kept the silence tight, like a wire. At 1:06 a.m., I heard the lock click. Not knock, not rattle. Click. The door handle turned slow, deliberate. But the chair I'd wedged beneath the knob groaned, halting it just short of opening. Then, nothing. I sat there for 10 more minutes, heart in my throat, then 20. No footsteps, no voices. I finally crept to the peephole. Empty hallway. I called the front desk. No answer. I called again. Still nothing. I grabbed my bag and opened the door to leave, but on the floor was another note. "You changed the lockout code. That wasn't very trusting of you." I don't have a lockout code. I rushed to the elevator, hit the button 3 times. As the doors opened, I glanced back. My room door was swinging wide. No one in the hall, no sound. Just one thing left behind on the carpet. A key card. Not mine. Someone else had access all along. I just left the hotel. I didn't even look back. It is quite horrifying to know that someone has been stalking me all along. It's even more horrifying to know that they could be watching me at this right moment. One thing I am sure is that whoever they are, they're careful, patient, calculating. It's really disturbing when someone comes into your life uninvited, and they are unwilling to leave. My main worry is that I don't know how long they've been watching, or how close they've gotten. But now, every creak in the floorboards sounds like a footstep. Every shadow, a silhouette. And the worst part is, I don't think they're done. I can only hope that whoever they are, they have focused on their things and just left me alone.